Today I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about Mode 6 data, what it is and how it's useful as a diagnostic tool. Now to view this today we're just going to be using a cheap Windows-based laptop along with Forscan for software and a generic OBD2 to USB connector. And this connector does have the switch so we can also view the medium speed network, but we're not going to need that today to view Mode 6 data. Let's start by going ahead and getting Forscan connected to our vehicle. We'll plug our cable into a USB port here, and then plug the other end into the OBD2 connector on our vehicle. We'll go ahead and turn the key on. Okay, and this is the main screen on Forscan. And the first thing we're going to do is click Connect to Vehicle. And it's going to go ahead and read all the modules and check if there's any codes in any of them. If you've never used Forscan, it is a really good software package for Ford vehicles. And I have access to an IDS and an FDRS, which is Ford's official scan tools. And for some things, I definitely do like Forscan better. So to get to Mode 6 data, we're going to select the fourth icon down on the left here. It looks like a clipboard with a pencil. And then select Mode 6 data on this screen. And then we're going to hit the Start button. And we're going to give it just a minute. Okay, and this is Mode 6 data. Now, I was working on some other things earlier today, and that is what all the red boxes are about. Those are OBD2 monitors that have not completed yet since the last time the codes were cleared. If you're not really aware of what Mode 6 data is, it's the current status and results of all the OBD2 monitors, and that includes misfire monitoring. And that is probably the thing that I consider most useful in Mode 6 data. So if we scroll on down to the bottom of this page, we will get to the misfire section. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this to make it a lot easier to read. So if you look at this, you'll see that it keeps track of the number of times each individual cylinder misfires. And you can see this engine has no misfires, but also I've just cleared the data on it recently too. So I'm going to go ahead and start the engine and unplug an injector for a few seconds, and then let's look at this data again. Okay, so I've started the engine and let it run for a minute and unplugged one of the injectors for a few seconds and then plugged it back in. So let's go ahead and click the Start button and run the test again. So obviously our OBD2 monitors aren't going to be completed. They're still going to be red because it hasn't been driven on the highway. Let's scroll down to the bottom and look at the misfire data. So you'll notice here that cylinder number 7 is missing 3.54% of the time. And cylinder number 7 is the one that I unplugged an injector on for 3 or 4 seconds while the engine was running. And off to the right of that you'll see the less than or equal to 1.97% symbol. And I believe that is the threshold where it turns on the check engine light. So if it's not missing at that point, or if it's below that threshold, the check engine light won't come on. Or that's what I've always taken that to mean. And if I'm not right about that, please let me know in the comments down below. Where this is a really handy tool is when you've got one that just misses for a split second every once in a while, not enough to turn a check engine light on. Or if it's missing some on cold startup, but it won't flag a code because it doesn't look at misfires for the first 2 minutes of runtime. Or even if you've got an intermittent shutter and you're not sure if it's a torque converter or an engine miss, this usually pretty much either rules in or out an engine miss. So one last thing I'm going to do here, since we unplugged an injector with the engine running, I'm sure we probably have flagged a misfire code and a injector circuit code, and we're going to go ahead and clear both those while we're in here. So I'm going to go over to the column on the left side and click the second icon down, the triangle-shaped one that says DTC in it. And then it's going to open up this screen for pulling DTCs. And I'm just going to go ahead and click the Start button and pull all codes. Okay, and it does look like we have 3 codes in it. We've got a P0207, number 7 injector circuit, number 7 misfire code, and a misfire detected on startup code. I'm going to go ahead and click the Clear button and clear all the codes. And it was the number 7 injector that I just kind of randomly picked and unplugged earlier. Okay, looks like we're good and all our codes are cleared. If you found this helpful, please click the like button down below. We're releasing new videos every Monday, so please subscribe. And as always, have a great week.